When Mo Salah returns, how will that change things?
Well, I suppose it depends, how well Mo Salah's playing. But if Mo Salah plays when he comes back from the way he did at the weekend, I think he's got a great chance of playing a lot of football still in a red shirt, of course. And the irony of it is, if he wasn't actually going to AFCON now, he'd probably be playing for Liverpool in the next game because he was fantastic when he came on at the weekend. And the great thing about that at the weekend was, on the back of us speaking about Mo Salah at the Leeds game, we're talking about an interview he did. Okay, is that his last act for Liverpool? Now, we don't know if this is his last act, but isn't it nice that we can put this graphic in and say, right, Mo Salah, more goal involvements than anybody in Premier League history. We're talking about, as I said last week, a world-renowned superstar, a superstar of the Premier League, a superstar for Liverpool. And I'm just thinking, maybe, who knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks when he's at AFCON. But it's much better that we're looking at that rather than dissecting an interview outside Ellen Road, basically, in terms of what is he doing as a Liverpool player, and is this his last sort of contribution?
Well, we probably need to just clean up this sort of, if it is to be his final chapter or this latest chapter of this story, Jamie. I think there was a lot of talk, in the studio last week about that being his final act. And now that he came on in that after 26 minutes and made such an impression in the game, are we going to see Mo Salah back for the rest of the season?
I don't see Mo Salah playing for Liverpool next season. The big thing in my mind is, are we going to see Mo Salah from now to the end of the season? Now, we know he's now going to AFCON. AFCON will finish mid-January. Now, it's obvious he's got an issue with the manager. And I want to give credit to the manager. He could have easily said, no, Mo Salah's not involved for this game against Brighton. He'll go to AFCON, we'll sort it when he comes out. But no, he thought, it's bigger than me, it's about the team, and it's more important Mo Salah's on the bench, and he made a contribution in the second half. But last week I was giving advice to Mo Salah and his agent, and I'm going to do it again, because what we saw at the end of the game against Brighton was Mo Salah, a lap of appreciation, if you like, a little bit emotional, with the cop there. He's probably not sure himself whether that's his last time at Anfield, but I would, if he's thinking about moving on, I would urge him to think again. And the reason I would say that is, if Mo Salah is to move on from Liverpool now, the talk is he would go to the Saudi League, which is talked about over there, but probably nowhere else, except when the transfer window's open. Now, Mo Salah's not going to move and leave Liverpool to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid. We just mentioned the Saudi League. Now, Liverpool, in the second half of the season, they could get to an FA Cup final. They could get to a Champions League final. Can you imagine Mo Salah in Saudi playing for whatever team he's playing for, watching Liverpool come out in Budapest in a Champions League final? You come back at the end of January, you've got 3 months. Okay, you might not get on with the manager. You'll start some games, you'll be sub some games, you won't come on in certain games. But also, what we see there then, it was nicer than what we saw at Ellen Road. But does Mo Salah deserve more than that as a Liverpool player? He deserves a guard of honour. He deserves a mosaic in the Kop. He deserves to be able to bring his family, his wife and his kids on the pitch in his last game and actually be celebrated for what he's done as a Liverpool player. So put your differences with the manager to the side and just think, 3 or 4 months at Liverpool. Okay, the worst thing that's going to happen is I get this big send-off. The best thing that could happen is I'm walking out with my teammates in Budapest in a Champions League final. And if he was sat in Saudi Arabia watching Liverpool do that, I think he'd really regret it.
Olivier, you are 39 and still playing. Mo Salah is 33.
Still young.
Yeah. Well, when you were at that stage, I don't know if you can remember, what are the things that you are thinking about when you are making big decisions like Mo Salah, it feels like, has in front of him?
I was still hungry for more trophies, more wins, more competition. When you're passionate of this game, you just want to carry on enjoying the game as long as you can.
At the highest level?
At the highest level. Everybody is different. I don't know if you ask Jamie, maybe it's not the same, but I believe, Mo Salah deserves an amazing end with Liverpool, with what he achieved in his career for this club. And I want to see him in another big club in Europe, or maybe staying in Liverpool. I don't know. I hope this episode, and I think from the manager, it was nice to sort the things out before he went to the AFCON. And then we restart a fresh start after the AFCON. And why not to win some trophies? But I still want to see Mo Salah perform in Europe, if you ask me.
Always good. Let's turn to Liverpool now. And of course, Salah, he was in the squad, on the bench and then on the pitch, and then really delivered quite a pointed performance after the game over the weekend. What do you think the future holds for Mo, given that he could be away now for potentially a month in the Africa Cup of Nations?
We talked about cryptic messages with Chelsea and Maresca. You could compare that to Salah and Liverpool, because we don't have a full explanation on what has gone on there. But as I understand it, Liverpool fully intend to keep Mo Salah. They want him to remain not only in the January transfer window, but beyond, until at least the end of the season. He's under contract until the summer of 2027. And Liverpool feel that they showed their intentions very clearly by renewing him at great expense back in May. I think their view would be this has been brought about by Salah and his desire to be guaranteed regular football. And that's not something that any club, certainly not Liverpool, despite the legendary status of Salah, are going to be willing to deliver. And that seems to be at the heart of this, at the centre of discussions, which Arne Slot said began before Leeds. So this wasn't the great shock to Liverpool that some have made out. What was, I think, surprising was that he spoke out after Leeds, and that forced them to act. However, they still feel the ball is in his court to decide what he wants to do here. If he really does want to go, is he going to come forward with some proposals? Are his representatives? I'm sure they'll be in conversations. There will be no shortage of interest. We know Al Ittihad in the Saudi Premier Pro League like him. Al Hilal, I'm led to believe, are not so keen, but there would be admiration from all over the European game as well. But this is being dealt with by Liverpool, they feel, in a pragmatic way, taking him out of the firing line against Inter Milan, bringing him back at the weekend. Arne Slot and Richard Hughes in control of it from their perspective, Rami Abbas, Salah's agent, and Salah from their perspective. So we'll have to wait and see what happens now he's away at the Africa Cup of Nations. But from Liverpool's perspective, they are clear. They expect him to remain at Anfield beyond January and for the foreseeable future.
Interesting. Well, you do get a sense that January will be a big telling part of this story. David, thank you so much for your insight as always, as we welcome you back now into our Premier League studios and bring back in the guys, Tim and Danny. Danny, you haven't had a chance to speak about this whole sort of saga with Salah and Liverpool in the last couple of weeks. I know that you believe that it was quite serendipitous what happened over the weekend, because had there not been the Gomez issue and injury, we don't know if he ever would have come off the bench. Where do you stand now?
I don't think he would have come off the bench, because if you look at the previous games since he'd been dropped to the bench, he came on against Sunderland at half-time, I think it was 0-0. Didn't come on against West Ham, didn't come on against Leeds United, and in both of them games they were winning at a certain point. More so obviously West Ham, because they ended up drawing with Leeds. I think Gomez having to go off injured, you know, they had a couple of players that they could have brought on like-for-like replacements from Gomez, but they were young players that were in the squad. Bradley was obviously suspended, so the ideal situation was you bring Szoboszlai back to right back and then you allow Salah to come onto the field. But it's one of those things where you look at it and you think, this isn't the end of it. This isn't like, okay, everything's fine now. I think if you looked at it from a different perspective, which is obviously the game going as it did, if Gomez doesn't get injured, like I say, I don't think he steps off the bench. I really don't. And I think that Mo Salah's been calculated, and I think from Slot's perspective, he has to let everybody know that he is the manager. It's as simple as that. Because I'm sure, Tim, you will have been in dressing rooms before where if one person gets away with it, other people will think that they can do the same thing as well. So he has to make sure everybody knows who the boss is. Do you think we see Mo play for Liverpool again? At the moment, no, I don't. And I may be completely wrong as usual, but I don't think he does. I think it's Slot or Salah. Well, Tim, you've been Team Mo really throughout this. What did that change anything? What happened on Saturday?
I've been Team Mo only because I've been trying to see this as like very realistically, and I still look at it, and I agree with David. Salah started this problem, right? And he might hold the keys to the solution. What I truly believe is Mo Salah is in complete control of this. What do I mean by that? If Arne Slot says, yeah, but I don't fancy you, or we'll go through a run form, and I'm going to put you on the bench. He is not going to accept that. You can say he's arrogant. You can say he's dealing with it the wrong way. Sure. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is he's so powerful, he's on so much money, that if he's put on the bench for an extended time and he wants guaranteed football, and you say, well, we can't guarantee you football, he'll leave, or he'll kick up a fuss or cause a stink in order for this to be a problem. And like we're talking about this now, he's not even with the team. He's currently in Africa. We're talking about Mo Salah. He holds the cards, all of them.
You can't think that he would be completely in control, because he could get benched. Can continue to get benched until he gets a reaction.
Well, or he gets a move.
Results, yeah.
So therefore, go ahead.
No, go on, Tim.
Therefore, I just think he is so powerful at the football club. He can decide whether he's going to play, and if he doesn't play, then he leaves. There's not a situation that I think in the next 18 months that Mo Salah accepts a bit part and a squad role. I don't see that happening. And that is essentially what Liverpool and Arne Slot are asking him. You're not undroppable, therefore we're asking you to accept the fact that there are going to be times when you're a squad player. And I'm saying I don't believe that Mo Salah believes that.
And to your point as well, this team for so long has been built around Mo Salah. It's been built around him, which has enabled him. Listen, he's been one of the greatest ever Premier League players. Nobody's doubting that. But his defensive work, he's never had to do it. People had to go at Trent Alexander-Arnold all the time. I felt for him at times, 2v1 all the time. So then when Salah got the ball, he was in a position where he could go and do what he wants to do. Liverpool are finding themselves in a situation now that they haven't been in for a long time, where they need every single player to do their defensive work. So this isn't about Mo Salah not being good enough on the field, on the ball. We all know he's incredible. But I think Slot's looked at it and gone, we're in a predicament at the moment where we can't carry anybody. We can't have any luxury plays. Every single player has to be able to do the defensive side. And I think that's what it comes down to. And that's where I think sometimes people get a little bit lost and go, well, hang on, Mo Salah is unbelievable. He's so good that he should be playing for Liverpool week in, week out. Nobody's questioning that. The question is the off-the-ball side of things.
But is it what they need for the team right now? And the other part of that question is whether Mo Salah is willing to accept that. Let's move on quickly. We're going to touch base on Enzo Maresca. What do you think is going on at Chelsea?
Well, you know, in his comments, he clarified his comments by saying, I don't feel supported. This is the worst 48 hours of my time at Chelsea. He essentially said, it's not the supporters, it's not my players, it's not my backroom staff. So that leaves the media. Why would you pick a fight with the media? I have no idea. Or it's someone above him, whether that's ownership or sporting director. And David quite rightly said, like ultimately, that club is led from the top down. It's the sporting director, ownership. They pick the players and they empower the players. So I think with managers coming and going, and also I think Maresca fired a counter shot by hiring Jorge Mendes and saying, okay, I've won a lot of things here. If you're going to chop and change me, I'll find a really good job too. So this is an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't think it's calculated. I just think he's so emotional. I think he's got to the point where it's like, why am I not getting credit? Everyone's talking about Aston Villa. Nobody's talking about Chelsea. You know, he's been there for a very short amount of time. He's won the Conference League. He's won the Club World Cup. They're fourth in the Premier League now. And what people don't mention as well, they had zero pre-season. They had zero time off. And there's players, you know, I know the fans are getting frustrated with the chopping and changing of the back four. He's having to do that to manage players that are carrying injuries. And I just think he's gone, I want a little bit of respect, I want a little bit of love. And because he's so emotional, sometimes it can come out the wrong way.
So you're not reading too much into it. And he reminded us in that press conference earlier today, they're trying to get into their third semi-final in the last 18 months. He has been incredibly good, and a bit of a sigh of relief, I'm sure, from having Cole Palmer back from that groin injury.
Leandro Trossard proved to be the perfect antidote to Arsenal's attacking frustrations, following Mikel Arteta's candid remarks about Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres may have struggled to truly impress since his summer arrival at Arsenal, but over the weekend, there was finally a glimpse of what he is capable of. More importantly, Trossard showed exactly why he could be the key to unlocking the Swedish striker's full potential during Arsenal's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The 31-year-old winger injected fresh energy into Mikel Arteta's side on Saturday night and helped breathe new life into the Gunners' attack. Shortly after replacing Gabriel Martinelli in the second half, Arsenal found the breakthrough. While Trossard did not directly contribute to either the opening goal or the dramatic stoppage time winner, his influence on the game was undeniable. Trossard took control of proceedings, dictating the tempo and pulling the strings down the left flank. Time and again, he dismantled Wolves' compact defensive setup, releasing Miles Lewis-Skelly into space, picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and crucially, feeding Gyökeres with intelligent, well-timed passes. Operating as a creative hub, the Belgian showcased his playmaking qualities, delivering sharp, purposeful distribution. His introduction completely shifted the momentum of the match, and for the first time in weeks, Arsenal's $64 million striker briefly looked like a genuine threat. Before Trossard's arrival, Gyökeres endured a frustrating and ineffective outing in attack. In fact, the Belgian was the only player to carve out a clear-cut opportunity for the 27-year-old forward, slipping a simple yet incisive ball in behind the Wolves' backline. Gyökeres controlled the pass, beat his defender, and aimed for the far post. Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone was beaten, but the Swedish striker saw his effort agonizingly drift just wide. If Arteta truly wants to get the best out of Gyökeres, then granting Trossard a more prominent role in the starting 11th could be the solution. Speaking to TNT Sports after the win, the Arsenal manager openly addressed the challenges facing his marquee signing. "It's a collaboration between the two," Arteta explained. "He was in some really good positions, but the ball didn't arrive quickly enough, accurately enough, or with the precision a number 9 needs to score." But his commitment and intention were there, and we have to keep pushing. Arteta was equally vocal in defending Gyökeres prior to the match, urging patience with the striker's adaptation to English football. "There was huge expectation because we were signing a proven goal scorer, probably with the best statistics in Europe," Arteta said. "But he's coming into a different league, the most demanding league in the world. What happens if he doesn't score in 5 or 6 games? That was the only question I asked him. How are you going to react if you don't score in 5 or 6 matches? Can you handle that? And what about the next 100 games? That's what people need to see. The sample size is still very small, so leave him alone. Let him do what he does best. Support him, and I'm convinced things will come good." That message from Arteta resonated beyond the Emirates. In the days following the Wolves' victory, the debate around Gyökeres intensified among pundits, supporters, and former players. While some questioned whether Arsenal's record signing is truly suited to the Premier League's pace and physicality, others pointed to the structural issues around him rather than the striker himself. Much of the post-match analysis focused on Arsenal's chance creation and balance in the final third. The Wolves game highlighted a recurring theme this season. Gyökeres often makes the right movements, but the service into dangerous areas has been inconsistent. When Trossard entered the match, that problem briefly disappeared. Arsenal suddenly looked more fluid, more unpredictable, and far better equipped to supply a traditional number 9. Former players speaking on television and radio were quick to note the contrast. With Trossard drifting inside and linking play, Arsenal's attacking shape became more compact, allowing Gyökeres to stay higher up the pitch and occupy central defenders. That, in turn, created space for midfield runners like Rice and Ødegaard to arrive late in the box. It was a glimpse of an attacking formula that Arsenal have rarely sustained this season. The reaction from supporters has been equally divided. While frustration with Gyökeres' goal return remains, there is growing appreciation for his work rate, physical presence, and willingness to press from the front. Many fans now see Trossard as the missing connector, the player who can translate Gyökeres' movement into genuine scoring opportunities. Internally, Arteta faces an important decision. Persisting with a front line that isolates Gyökeres risks damaging the striker's confidence, especially with tougher fixtures on the horizon. At the same time, promoting Trossard to a regular starting role could mean reshuffling wide positions and reducing Martinelli's minutes, a bold call that would not come without consequences. Yet football at the highest level often comes down to chemistry rather than reputation. The Wolves match suggested that Arsenal's most expensive signing may not need drastic changes to his own game. but rather the right supporting cast around him. If Arteta embraces that idea, Gyökeres's slow start could soon be remembered as nothing more than a difficult adjustment period. For now, the pressure remains. Goals will ultimately define Gyökeres's Arsenal career, and patience in North London is never unlimited. But with Trossard offering clarity, creativity, and calm in possession, Arsenal may finally have found the key to unlocking their striker and turning promise into consistent production.